Starting off this countdown, we have David Fraser. David Fraser is a US Navy commander who spoke about some pretty terrifying things that he encountered underwater while working for the Navy. So according to him, twice while recovering spent practice munitions out of the water, he spotted a weird underwater object. The first time, he saw a dark mass underwater. He described it as being a big mass that was kind of circular. He said he was certain that it wasn't a submarine. For the second sighting, he was retrieving a practice torpedo when this same weird thing sucked it down into the depths of the ocean. The torpedo was never seen again. So what was this big mass that he was seeing?
At number 9, we have the Siberian lake monster. Of course, if we're doing a list of scary things that live underwater, we have to throw a giant mysterious sea monster on here. What separates the Siberian lake monster from other more popular guys that we have seen like Loch Ness and that kind of stuff is that underwater scans have actually picked this guy up. This thing is deep in Lake Labrador, and some radar has shown that it looks like a 33-foot long creature is living there. Now this is probably just a skeleton, but if this thing is dead, it means that there was once a giant man-eating monster in this lake. I thought we were supposed to be safe in freshwater. They've nicknamed this thing the Devil, so you know he's a good time and loves company. So next time you go up to the cottage and you're swimming in the water and you feel safe, remember there might be a giant monster lurking underneath the water ready to turn you into a side dish. At number 8, we have the blue hole. Now there are several blue holes in the world. There's one in Belize, there's one in the Red Sea, there's a giant one in my heart that was left there from when Reboot ended on a cliffhanger. How are you going to end a show that so many people fell in love with on a cliffhanger? I will never trust again. Well, this one is between Cape Verde and the Caribbean islands. Scientists are really confused about this thing. It's a crack in the bottom of the ocean floor and is several thousand miles long. What's strange about this is there's no explanation of how this happened. It might have been tectonic plates moving around, but when this happened, the Earth will probably start to repair itself and there's been no sign of this. My theory is this is where Godzilla goes to sleep at night. I mean, it seems like the most logical answer. It's either that or the gateway to hell. Like, come on guys, I'm doing real science work here. At number 7, we have the Yanaguni complex. This was discovered by scuba divers in the 1980s. I think that's the scariest part about this one. Could you imagine going scuba diving back in the 80s? The technology back then must have been a tube going up to some guy who would blast fresh air down to you using a bicycle pump. I don't even think they had decompression sickness figured out back then. The chances of you coming up the bends was probably super high. Well, if it wasn't for a few divers in Japan who were willing to sacrifice it all to look at some cool stuff, we wouldn't know anything about the Yanaguni complex. It's still a mystery as to what this thing is. It looks like some temples that might have existed thousands of years ago, but when the ice age decided to melt, it would have covered this entire area. This could be why an entire civilization got plunged underwater. Or the temple could have been on a cliff, and then when a massive earthquake hit, it knocked the temple into the water. But like everything in life, there are some haters who say this whole thing is just a natural rock formation. Some people just want to ruin everything. At number 6, we have Anakora twista. One of the reasons why the underwater world is such a mystery is because we find things like this in there. Sure, there are beautiful things down there like bright fish and chubby marine mammals, but there's also the unknown, unidentified organisms like Anakora twista, which should be the name of an 80s hair metal band. But what is this thing? Well, it's a protist. And what is a protist, you may ask? Well, it's an organism that doesn't belong to any animal group, fungus, or plant group. What does that mean? I really have no idea, you guys. I think it means it could be an alien. Some alien came down to Earth for a swim and then scraped its knee on some coral, and now we have alien creatures running around the ocean, probably waiting for you to pee so it can swim up your pee hole and then work its way into your brain. It's really the only logical answer. At number 5, we have the Bimini Road. How were the pyramids made? Was it aliens coming down to share their technology and secrets with us, or was it just thousands upon thousands of slaves who sacrificed their lives and their spines to build them? Well, we don't know and we may never know, but the Bimini Road is another one of these mysteries. It's off the coast of the Bahamas, and it looks like it could have been a pathway that was placed perfectly with giant slabs of rock. Similar to the way the pyramids were made, it seems that these large slabs of rock were too large to be moved by man, and also like the pyramids, these giant slabs were also perfectly placed so well. So where does everyone's mind go when something like this happens? Well, magic, or aliens? The logical answer is that this is a natural phenomenon of the water moving and hitting the rocks to make these formations, but people think that this was made using advanced technology from aliens and could have been the road to Atlantis. Honestly, I like the Atlantis theory much better. It's more fun. At number 4, we have colossal squid. Yeah, this thing is a big no thanks for me. So everyone always talks about how there might be sea monsters out there, but this thing actually exists. There's never been one caught alive, but several have washed onto shores dead, and they are massive. The largest one ever discovered was 45 feet long, and it was dead. So you know there was an even bigger one out there that killed this guy. They don't even have suckers on their tentacles, they have hooks. Let me say that again. This squid has 10 giant arms covered in hooks. This thing is straight out of a horror movie. Scientists aren't even sure what something this big eats. They think it probably feeds on whales or your deepest darkest fears. I wouldn't be surprised if the colossal squid works part-time as a gatekeeper for hell. It makes me think that the old Greek stories about the Kraken might have been real. At number 3, we have underwater circles. Giant formations of circles that are formed underwater and nobody knows how they got there. These mysteries were discovered off the coast of North Carolina, Florida, and Belize. Now what are they? Like many things on this list, myself and the entire scientific community have no idea. But here are some theories. Maybe they were formed naturally by either two things, water currents or some sort of animal mating ritual. Another idea is that these things were made by ancient civilizations before the Ice Age. All these things would have been above ground and might have been art left over by some old-timey tribes. And the third theory is that they look kind of like a bullseye, so it might be some sort of nuclear missile target, and if you hit it hard enough, the explosion will cause some sort of major natural disaster like an earthquake or tsunami, or if we're lucky, both. At number 2, we have Megalodon. If you have a fear of sharks, you're gonna love this one. Megalodon was a prehistoric shark that was even bigger than the giant hooked tentacle beast that was earlier on this list. If you've already forgotten about the colossal squid, it clocked in at around 45 feet long, where Megalodon was closer to 60 feet long. It was a 60-foot shark that could probably rip a blue whale in half in one bite. Well, maybe not that, but it was still a gargantuan creature with teeth the size of Brock Lesnar's fists. This thing wouldn't even chew you, it would just swallow you whole and then fart your skeleton out into the dark cold ocean. At number 1 on our list, we have giant eyeball. A mysterious giant eyeball washed onto the shore of a Florida beach back in October of 2012. I don't know any other kind of giant eyeball other than a mysterious one. There's no super common regular giant eyeball just lying around. But this is also Florida. This is the state where people smoke crack at weddings and kiss alligators on the lips, so maybe it's a little more common over there. Well, this giant eyeball was found by Gino Cavacci, and he didn't know what the hell to make of it, so he took it home and then stuck it in his freezer. Then he called the cops, and the cops came in and told him, "We don't do giant eyeballs on the beach. You have to call the wildlife people." And then he called the wildlife people, and they were like, "What the hell is that?" And he was like, "I don't know. I brought it to you guys to try and figure out what it is." And then some people were like, "Maybe it's a sea monster," and other people were like, "No, it's probably from a marlin." And I think in the end, no one really knew what the hell it was. But just so you know, there's giant eyeballs out there just laying around the beach sometimes.
Coming up in our number 10 spot, we have the ghost shark. The ghost shark lives in the deep ocean and lives for about 30 years. It looks like a ghost, but arguably even scarier than one. It eats primarily crabs, shellfish, sea urchins, and octopus. Apparently these fish have been around even longer than dinosaurs. Their big eyes can appear dead in the water, but glow when they are exposed to light, giving them that ghostly look.
In our 9th spot, we have the Naval Report. After hearing David's interview, a 79-year-old woman contacted him. She said that her father was a naval officer, and when she was a child, her father showed her a telegram that stated that unidentified objects had been sighted going in and out of the water at one of their locations. The woman's father told her, and I quote, "We get these all the time, and it's always in the same area. But obviously, the Navy isn't going to release this information to the public." In our 8th spot today, we have the Sycamore Knoll. This is a weird underwater structure located close to Malibu. No one knows what it is, but it looks like a weird stadium-shaped structure, and it's located about 2,000 feet underwater. It's also massive. It's about 2.5 to 3 miles wide. It also has what appears to be pillars or columns supporting it up, and under there it looks like an entrance. One theory is that it's an underwater alien base. Crazy, I know. But a number of UFO sightings have been reported for years in that area. Some even claim to see UFOs landing in the waters in that exact area, and this was before the underwater structure was even discovered. Freaky, isn't it? What do you think it is though? Let me know in the comments below. In our 7th spot today, we have the unidentified object. Now, in case you were unaware, there's this whole theory that aliens live in underwater bases, and that's why a number of UFO sightings are by lakes, or people have seen these saucers rise up or into the lakes. Well, in 1970, biologist Ivan Sanderson published a book titled The Invisible Residence. In this book, he talked all about UFOs or USOs, unidentified submerged objects, aka UFOs that have been spotted going into the water or rising up out of it. According to this book, on April 19th, 1957, a crew member on board a Japanese fishing boat witnessed something very strange. He saw 2 metallic silvery objects descend from the sky and dive right down into the sea. He described them as being 10 meters long with no wings or anything. When the craft hit the water, it caused great waves and rocked their boat tremendously. So maybe the whole UFO, USO theory is true and they're living underwater. Who knows? In our 6th spot today, we have the gold. Did you know that $771 trillion worth of gold lies hidden in the ocean? Yes, you heard me. Wouldn't it be nice to just be swimming along and bump into some gold and become a millionaire? Unfortunately, it's not that easy. Ocean waters around the world contain about 20 million tons of gold in them. Each liter of water would contain approximately 13 billionths of a gram of gold. So you need to collect and filter an awful lot before becoming rich. And currently, there's no cost-effective method to remove the gold from seawater and be profitable. Now, people have tried. None have been successful. One case that I want to talk about has to do with a man named Ford Jerrigan. He came up with a plan for a gold accumulator. The plan was to extract gold from the Long Island Sound using a process involving mercury and electricity treatments. In fact, people thought that it was great, and before he knew it, he had investors, and he raised about $1 million for this project. But in the end, he scammed them all and fled with the money. We are now at our 5th and halfway mark with the giant sea monster. Now, if you watched my video on Google Earth, then you already have seen me talk about this. If you haven't, then, well, Google Earth basically caught a giant sea beast on their satellite camera. It was spotted off the coast of Antarctica's Deception Island. And no one, even scientists, don't know what it is. It could just be a whale, but it's still unconfirmed. Theories range from it being an underwater UFO, to a kraken, or another sea beast that we have yet to discover. To be honest, to me, it looks like a massive squid, but what do you think it is? Let me know in the comments below. In our 4th spot, we have the UFO video. More UFOs. Now, this was a leaked video showing what appears to be a UFO diving into the ocean. The video was filmed in 2019 off the coast of San Diego. Eventually, people were demanding answers, so the Pentagon eventually came forward saying that the video was authentic and that they don't know what the object is in the video. In the video, the object flies across the screen before stopping and slowly lowering itself into the water. Apparently, this was recorded by official Navy personnel. What do you think that could be? The Pentagon has no explanation for it yet. In our 3rd spot today, we have the plastic. The amount of plastic currently in our oceans is disgusting. Currently, 5.25 trillion macro and micro pieces of plastic are in our ocean. There's 46,000 pieces in every square mile of the ocean. Every day, around 8 million pieces of plastic make their way into our oceans. And guess what? Fish are eating them, and then we're eating these fish. So slowly, these microplastics are ending up in our bodies. But not just from fish. From bottled water, beer, honey, sea salt, and tea bags have all been exposed as microplastic carriers. We're killing marine life and ourselves, slowly but surely, and the governments are hardly addressing this issue. In our 2nd spot, we have the nuclear waste. Bet you didn't know this, but our oceans are radioactive. Since 1952, low levels of radioactive waste have been discharged into the Irish Sea, the English Channel, and the Arctic Ocean. This radiation can enter the food chain through plankton, and then the fish eat the plankton, and then we eat the fish. In fact, radioactive cesium and plutonium have already been found in seals and porpoises. And it's getting worse. As the nuclear energy industry grows, more and more radioactive waste will be disposed of and find its way into our ground and water supply. Again, another scary thing the government doesn't address. And in our number 1 spot today, we have the secret underwater bases. Allegedly, the government has a number of secret underwater bases. They're just hidden from the public, so we don't know about them. We We do know of one base though, and that's the Naval Testing Facility in Lake Bayview, Idaho. The lake that it's located in is 1,200 feet deep, and it is pretty remote, so it's deep and secluded enough to run these tests. If they have one there, who's to say they don't have more and in the ocean?
At number 10, we have an Octopus Nursery. 8-legged alien looking things with suction cups all over their arms and beaks for mouths. Octopus are creepy looking things, and to top it all off, they can camouflage like a Navy SEAL, and they are super smart. If these are the kind of things that make your skin crawl, then just running into one of these guys would probably freak you out. Well, on the underwater expedition at the Davidson Seamount, there was a rather shocking discovery. They had a remote probe that was on the ocean floor around 10,000 feet, and they came across which seemed to be an octopus that was next to not just one, not just two, but a group of 1,000 octopuses in a nursery. They were all there laying their eggs and using the heat from the volcanic vent to keep them warm. I would hate to be the guy who accidentally steps into that crack and then gets devoured by thousands of sticky arms. But if you're at 10,000 feet underwater, you probably are already screwed.
In our number 9 spot, we have the Atlantic wolffish. The Atlantic wolffish kind of looks a bit like a blob with very sharp canine-like teeth. So sharp that it can crush the shells of sea urchins and crabs very easily, and that is what they eat. They can live at depths of 2,000 feet, and apparently they can produce an antifreeze that keeps their blood pumping in freezing water. This fish's overbite and general scary look definitely terrified us humans when we discovered it. In our number 8 spot, we have the red-lipped bat fish. This fish is found near Peru at the depths of 10 to 249 feet. They eat small fish and small invertebrates including shrimp, crabs, worms, and mollusks. They aren't good swimmers, but they use their pectoral, pelvic, and anal fins to walk on the ocean floor. Like this. Anal fins. What? I'm 5. I wonder if whoever discovered this fish was more confused than scared to have found a fish that literally looks like it's wearing red lipstick. In our number 7 spot, we have the dragonfish. The deep sea dragonfish lives about 2,000 feet below the surface and is most certainly a ferocious predator. I mean, look at their teeth. They are clearly born to be fierce. They are quite long, coming up on 6.5 inches, and yes, they do have wing-like fins, which is definitely why they were called dragonfish. They are also called the sea moth, which, yeah, no, that makes them seem less cool because, you know, moths are a pain. So we're gonna stick with the dragonfish. Little is known about their history thus far, which is just another reminder that the ocean is huge and we have so much more to learn. In our number 6 spot, we have the Dumbo Octopus. I can't think of the Dumbo Octopus without thinking, aw, so cute, it's like Dumbo. It has protruding ears that are like fins, and that is why it was given the name. Its fins act like propellers and propel them upwards, like so. Personally, I don't think this creature is very scary, maybe because the cute name put it in a positive light, but if you are someone that feels uncomfortable looking at a cluster of dots, don't look at its legs. I am that person, and just looking at its suction cup identical legs made me a tiny bit queasy. Apparently there are about 15 different Dumbo octopus species, which is pretty cool, and also they live in the depths of at least 13,000 feet. They are the deepest living octopus known to man as of yet. They measure to about 8 to 12 inches and they can measure to about 6 feet high. They are quite hard to spot as they are known for their ability to camouflage. Pretty cool. In our number 5 spot, we have the frilled shark. The frilled shark can live to depths of up to 5,000 feet, which means they were most likely not spotted by a casual diver. This eel-like shark has 6 pairs of gills that are across its throat. It usually swallows its prey whole, but its 300 teeth would also guarantee that its prey would most likely not escape anyway. This fish is referred to as a living fossil as it looks so similar to its ancient ancestors. Honestly, this fish looks old and worn, and a little bit like a snake. Honestly, it looks like it could be the demon of the sea. In some pics of this shark, it looks truly terrifying, and everyone, including divers, would be scared if they were ever to stumble across this fish. In our number 4 spot, we have the giant squid. The giant squid is indeed giant. It is 40 feet long, that's about 12 meters. Yeah, this definitely scared the breath out of some divers somewhere upon its discovery. It is one of the largest animals without backbones in the world. They live at depths of 1,000 to 2,000 feet, which definitely has made them hard to study. Apparently, they also have the largest eye in the animal kingdom, as their eyes are about 10 inches in diameter. They are carnivores, so they usually eat deep sea fish, young sharks, smaller squids, and humans. Just joking, but honestly, I'm sure if they had the opportunity to eat you, I bet you they would. In our number 3 spot, we have the Gulper Eel. Okay guys, let's be real, a diver wouldn't be able to see most deep sea fish because, well, we can't necessarily dive into the deep sea yet, lol. However, I'm sure divers have seen them via pictures and after being captured in deep sea fishing nets, so there's that. The Gulper Eel is one of them that was most likely seen because of a deep sea fishing net. This fish has one large mouth, and its mouth is bigger than its whole body, which makes it a tad scary to look at. It usually feeds on small crustaceans, so there's really nothing to fear. It wouldn't eat you. It has a long pink fluorescent tail that helps attract prey with its light. I personally think it is quite chilling to look at and would love to know if you agree in the comments section below. In our number 2 spot, we have the Hatchet Fish. So many scary fish. I'm gonna have to put on something funny after this, like The Big Bang Theory. My newest obsession. I know I'm late to the game, whatever, your girl is a late bloomer. The deep sea hatchet fish basically looks like an alien with its big bulging eye. Oh, and you know, it glows in the dark. Yeah, glows. Pretty cool. Which honestly makes it maybe one of the coolest fish. Cool, but terrifying. It has a row of luminescent organs lining its belly. It apparently mimics daylight above, which throws off predators below it. They live at depths up to 3,200 feet. They have a pretty large mouth that is tilted upward and opens wide to scoop up meals. In our number 1 spot, we have the Goblin Shark. When this shark was discovered, surely everyone was terrified. It literally looks like a goblin trapped in a shark body. This creature is one of the most scary looking deep sea creatures that I have ever seen. Apparently they can be as long as 4 meters, but some hypothesize that they can be longer. They have very long snouts and protruding mouths that hold many teeth that contribute to their scariness. They can crush their prey, such as shellfish, easily with their teeth. They can eat a fish whole, and that is usually what their diet consists of: rat tails and dragonfishes. They can weigh up to 460 pounds. Their lifespan is quite long at 30 to 35 years. Even though it looks quite terrifying, it does have a flabby body with small fins, so it can have quite sluggish movement.